Hey everyone, welcome to the Two Micks, live from Cosmic Golf. Hey, we've got some special guests today. We got Clay Sullivan, fabulous player from LaRue County, and we have Stuart Sullivan. Uh, he used to play at Hart County and Evansville. He's not bad. Anyway, Clay's team, Clay plays for the eighth grade middle school and the freshman team, and also the JV team. His middle school team, eighth grade team, is undefeated. Clay, how you feel about that?
It's pretty good. I got a bunch of good coaches, good players, good friends around me, supporting me, helping us, just kill every team we play.
Well, that's a good thing. That's what you're supposed to do. I like it. So,
Way to be modest.
Dad,
you
did you have
think-
that attitude when you were playing at that age?
do you think? Do you think one of your assets is more on offense or more on defense?
Definitely more on offense.
Yeah. How do you do on defense?
I'm not the worst defender ever.
You're not one of those that,
Okay.
just kind of lays back on defense and saves for
No.
offense, are you?
No, I can defend.
That's what I heard about your dad back in the day. I heard he was one of those type of players.
I've watched Clay play, and I tell you one thing I'm impressed with this young man about is his fundamentals. Clay can dribble the ball with the best. He also can pass the ball with the best, and his shooting is pretty dang good, isn't it?
Yep.
How many assists do you average right now? Would you say
What would you say?
I'd say 6 or 7.
6 or 7?
Yeah, he
That's
passes the ball super well.
heck. I think Kentucky only had 8 assists the total game last time. So yeah, let's call out to Mark Pope after this and get you up there real quick. Anyway, Clay, um, how's the season progressing right now? What games do you have left?
How many games we got left? Probably like
7 or 8. 7 or 8, I think, regular season.
just around that.
And
And then we go to the state tournament.
And then we also have our conference championship playoffs.
so if LaRue County varsity makes it to the state tournament, will you get to dress out?
I think I'm just too young right now.
You're never too young, kid, with your talent. Never too young. I remember Clay, folks, this is how you begin somebody. Clay used to never go anywhere without his basketball, and I used to watch him dribble. And I'm talking about, here's the table. He wasn't that big. And he could dribble it between his legs. And I don't know how he did it, but I used to love watching him. And he's fundamentally the most sound player at his age I've ever seen in my life. And that includes his dad. His dad played at Evansville from 1960, 96 to 97, 98, somewhere around there. And his dad, he was an 80% free throw shooter,
92. Who's counting?
92, but who's counting?
92%.
Mhm.
Wow.
Well, you got to talk to Google. They got your stats all messed
They
up.
did. They screwed that up.
And did you average 9.6 points a game for your 2 years?
I think so. It's
Yeah,
10.
you played in
Yeah.
57 games.
So, okay, they got that right.
Yeah, okay. Well, he shot 80% from the free throw line. But anyway, you needed to drive more. We need to put you on the free throw line.
I know.
So, Stu, what about playing for Evansville? What would you say the difference between your high school game where you played with Tick Rogers or Tick Rogers played with you?
I say Tick Rogers got to play with me.
Yeah. So
I was just point guard. That's why they got Mr. Basketball. I was very unselfish.
I agree
He owes
with
all
that.
his success to you because you
Every
dished him
bit
the
of
ball,
it.
right?
Every bit of it.
What was the difference? The big difference? I know.
The speed and the strength. It's daylight and dark between high school and college because you think that you're pretty strong, you think you're pretty quick, but when you get to the college game, the 6'10", 7-footers as quick laterally as the guards are. That was the thing that really shocked me is how quick and agile and fast the game was.
Yeah.
Of course, Jimmy, he's a purple ace like me. We're both purple aces, so
Which is a small world.
it's a small world. So,
Well,
but
you
we
have
didn't
to-
we didn't know this until he was there right after me, and we ended up meeting here in E-Town of all things. I ended up in E-Town somehow. I'm not even from here, and found out that we both went to Evansville. Of course, he knew some of the guys that I went to school with that were there just before him that actually recruited him. So, Evansville's got a rich history in basketball. They've been around. Now, were you there? You were there when we were still wearing the T-shirt
Yeah,
jerseys, right?
We wore the sleeves in honor of the plane crash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because we lost the players and coaches and everybody. I think that was in '74. And so from that point on, we wore the sleeves instead of a tank top.
Yeah. Of course, the two it happened about the same time as the Marshall plane crash too. And
year between,
unfortunately, but of course, there's a big fountain in the middle of campus and a memory of that the whole team. The ironic thing about that is that the entire team, except for one player, was on that plane, and then 2 weeks later, that one player died in a car wreck.
There was a Coach Simpson. It was from Bowling Green. Was the assistant coach. He got off the plane about 30 minutes before it took off.
Wow!
And I got to meet him about 4 or 5 years ago.
That's sort of like Marshall, where the one coach survived. Anyway, well, you guys are Purple Aces and went to Evansville, but I was a Hawk also. I went to Clarkson. We were the Red Hawks, and little Clay here's a Hawk. So it's amazing. And
I was an Eagle. And Jimmy.
Huh?
I was an Eagle in high school.
Yeah, I was a Raider.
We were all birds except for Stewart here. So.
Well, yeah, but y'all were, when you went to Evansville, you were both Purple Aces.
We were both Aces, yes.
Me and Clay here, we're both Hawks. Yeah. And Clay, I guess, were you born in E-Town?
Yeah.
I was born in E-Town also. Huh.
Me too.
I mean, that's
3.
Your number isn't 00, is it?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, mine was. I didn't know why they put that number on me, but I'm so glad Oway is wearing it now because it makes me feel better about them giving me 00.
Of course, the thing is, Jimmy, of course, obviously college athletics has changed a lot. And of course, I played football at Evansville, and obviously now, Stuart, what are your thoughts on kind of what's been happening in the college game with the NIL? And basically, they're all professionals. I'm sure it would have been nice to get a little of that money back in the day, but
back when I played, I don't know. I mean, they probably paid me $1,000 or something, but it's
that'd have been better than what we got, which was nothing.
But we did get I got a full ride at Evansville.
Sure, yeah.
Great school, just a great opportunity there. But with NIL, it's if you look at the top 25, every school has got the money.
Mm-hmm.
And the strong are going to get stronger, and the little guys are going to go just stay little guys. There's no way that these, BYU come up with some money, but you look at it, you got your UConns and the Dukes and, Louisville. I want to mention Louisville for sure, but those guys are just going to get stronger and stronger.
Well, back in my day, it's changed a lot because back in my day, I had to pay Clarkson to let me play. That's how much it's paid.
Ironically, the thing about it is that, of course, the only thing that you see in the news and the only thing that you see in the headlines, of course, like Kentucky spent $20 million on their roster this year. Of course, being the athletic director at John Hardin, we had a really good cross-country runner that ended up going to a small school in Tennessee, and he got some NIL money. Now, it wasn't like what the big schools get, but those are the athletes that it's there for, really, that it really, it was probably originally thought for. I just think it's ridiculous. Some of these kids are making millions of dollars and they even played one play for a school, and I don't know.
Out of hand.
It has.
I think it was needed. You walk around, let's just say when Donovan Mitchell was at Louisville, you've seen his jersey everywhere, and he wasn't getting any benefit from that. I do think that, that angle,
definitely
he deserves
that.
Now, I don't know about the 3, 4, 5 million for one season.
Well, like I said, the problem is that, I have no problem with that whatsoever, but I do have a problem with these players in high school, and it's filtering down now to middle school. There's a case in Ohio and Texas right now, and actually in the KHSAA, they've got NIL stuff in the bylaws now. But there's a lawsuit right now from a player that there's a high school that wants to pay money. And
is there anybody paying you money, Clay?
I wish.
Not yet.
I'm telling you, it's coming. And
so, Clay, let me ask
definitely
you something.
coming.
I know your dad's a big U of L fan, but I also happen to know your lovely mom, which that's where you get all your looks. Where are you planning on going college? Because she's a U of K fan and your dad's a U of L fan.
Whatever school offers me, best.
What school do you think would fit your style of play? Because definitely you're going to be a good point guard. I know that.
I definitely want to play for Louisville. If I were to play for any school, definitely Louisville.
Well, is that because they're having a good year right now, or is it no?
Just because I'm a Louisville fan.
You're a Louisville fan?
Yep.
Okay. All right, we got to work on you. We got plenty of time. But anyway, hey, Louisville plays.
Especially this year, right?
Clay, I'll tell you what. We got a few games I want you to talk about. Memphis is at Louisville this week. Who's going to win that game?
Definitely Louisville.
I think I agree
100%.
with you. Memphis is 4-4, and Louisville is having Kelsey has turned that program around. hasn't he?
Amazing.
100%.
And Kentucky's playing Indiana.
They're going to lose that one.
You think we're going to lose that one? You don't think Pope's? Well, now we beat North Carolina's
Yeah,
State.
exactly. Exactly.
What North Carolina State?
Ex-
Like North Carolina Central or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Central.
Uh-huh.
Well, they're.
hope
I
you
think
guys-
that's a new
I hope-
school.
hope you guys would.
We hope we win.
I
Yeah.
hope,
Well.
I hope y'all would.
Yeah, well, thank you. And then I tell you another game: Arizona versus Alabama. Now? This is played at Alabama. Alabama's had a rough year.
Yeah.
They have played 5 teams in the top 15 already, and we're not even in January. What do you think about that one?
What do you think?
That's your question. It's at Alabama.
Arizona's now number 1. But you know how that goes. And Alabama, though, they played Purdue, which was number 2. They lost that one.
I'm gonna say honestly, I might go Alabama on that one just because
That's who I'm going with. I'm
atmosphere.
going with Alabama. Now I'm going with Kentucky against Indiana.
Yeah.
I think Kentucky's going to win that one. And then also, did you know Florida is 5-4 so far? As good as Florida is, they're 5-4. They also have had a tough schedule. They lost to Duke. I think they lost to Gonzaga, and then everything. And also, speaking of Gonzaga, did you know Mark Few, the coach, just won his 750th game, second quickest coach to 750 wins.
That's crazy.
Do you know who number 1 is?
Mm-mm.
Adolph Rupp.
I don't know.
Adolph Rupp won 750 wins in his 902nd game. Mark Few did it in 904 games. So now you can
tell him
take it.
who Adolph Rupp is. He don't know.
I don't know who that is.
You didn't know Adolph Rupp?
What's Rupp Arena?
Oh, is that who's named after?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, we got to educate you. They're
Baron.
not teaching you right at LaRue County. But yeah, no, you know what though? Heck, I had somebody didn't know what a check was in a store the other day. So younger generation,
Nobody
I mean,
writes checks anymore, Jimmy.
Well,
Except for maybe you, probably.
well, that day I felt like I was the only
I
one.
hear they're cold.
Right. Yeah.
But Clay, I've watched you play. I just want to let you know I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work. Keep playing hard. And I will tell you something. If you ever get in a slump, keep shooting. Whatever you do, just keep shooting. Whatever, because I've seen Curry get in a slump, and that son of a buck put up like 20 shots and only hit 2, but he kept shooting.
Always.
And LeBron James, like we was talking about the other day, he threw off. He had a double-digit record going in. And how many did you say he scored?
I think it was 1,297.
Yes.
It was insane.
And all he had to do was drive the bucket, and he could have kept that record. But what did he do?
Pass it to the teammate.
He passed it to. He didn't care about records. And that's what you do. You pass a lot. So anyway, Clay, I know you guys have to go because you got another prior commitment and everything. I want to say thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, and I'm very proud of you,
Thank
young
you.
man.
Clay, good luck to you in the season.
Thank you.
All right. I'll cheer for you every time unless
Thanks,
they're
Jimmy.
playing my Bulldogs.
Thank you,
So
sir.
Stuart,
Yes, sir.
appreciate you having you on the
Yep,
show, man.
Yep. No problem. Go Cards.
Go Cats. Can't say a whole lot right now, though.
Hey, no, you guys are a volleyball school.
We're a volleyball power.
So is Louisville. Speaking of volleyball,
Oh, gee, now you got Jimmy going.
Kentucky plays Cal Poly this Thursday at 3:30 at the Sweet 16, and Louisville plays Texas A&M Friday in the Sweet 16. Both Louisville and Kentucky are in the Sweet 16.
It's because we're a volleyball state now, Jimmy. Just like Indiana is no longer a basketball school; they're a football school.
Well, hey, yes. Indiana.
What should we talk about first, Jimmy?
What do you want to talk about?
Well, we just got done talking about some basketball, so I think we ought to expand a little more on our basketball here and talk a little bit about the Nashville Nightmare from last Friday. Not that I really want to talk about it, but I think it definitely has to be brought up and talked about a little bit. And
yeah,
we watched it up here together, didn't we? At Cosmic Golf.
And we did not play as a team. We're still, I don't know. Pope has got a lot of work to do on this year's team. A lot of work.
He does, and a couple things about that night. First off, there's never a situation where we should be getting beat that bad. I don't care who we play. That's the first thing. And I know a lot of the fans were booing, which the one thing that I'd like to say about, I understand people get frustrated and BB, and I think people have to remember too, even though now we don't really think of it this way because most of them are like professionals out there getting paid millions. There's still 20-year-old kids out there.
18.
Some of them are 18. Yeah. And to me, that just doesn't solve anything. Booing the team and all that's going to do is put more pressure on them. Now, I get why people are frustrated, and we do need to do better. And I think we will do better. But
I brought up the fact, we're 6-4 right now. And I also brought up the fact Florida is 5-4 right now.
The difference, though, right now between us and Florida, though, Jimmy, is that Florida is competitive in every. That's a big difference.
We've made a comeback in the games we've lost, except for the Gonzaga game and Michigan State also.
Michigan State, we really never got
we made a comeback.
Louisville, we did, but all the other big teams. Now, the North Carolina game was just ugly both ways. We still should have won that game as bad as we played.
We didn't get blown out in that game.
But we should have won it, but we didn't. And Saturday against IU is a humongous game. I mean, it's.
Well,
I hate to say it's not necessarily a must win because we have conference play, but I don't see us beating St. John's on a neutral court the next week, and then we start SEC play at Tuscaloosa against Alabama.
Alabama's tested.
Yeah.
They play Arizona this week. And
Alabama always been competitive. Question marks, and I don't know what the answer is, but obviously Pope's going to have to figure it out.
But he's in his second year. Let's give him a chance, folks. I mean, you can dislike the games all you want, but
against North Carolina Central,
there were a lot of empty seats.
Oh, I'm sure there was
a lot of empty seats. And even Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steelers fan,
he's won a Super Bowl for the Steelers,
and they were saying fire Mike. And Mike, I tell you what, Tomlin handled it probably the best I've ever seen a coach handle it. He said they're frustrated just like I am.
Yeah.
And he's one. I mean, but maybe they righted the ship with the win they had the other night.
Oh, that was a huge win.
But
speaking of against the Ravens, right? That's what you got representing there. Lamar, he's just not the same. Not playing well. He's definitely injured. He's not the same player.
Lamar's I mean, I have more of this shirt in 2 years.
We'll talk a little more about that when we get to football. But I think obviously this is a big week, and of course, Indiana, we saw last night, they absolutely pummeled Penn State last night.
Yeah,
and
but
I'm hoping they got all the good stuff out of them, and then they come and play horrible against us.
Louisville beat Indiana.
They did, and that was up in Gainbridge, up in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So I think. I have no idea what's going to happen. I want to say, obviously, you would hope we're going to play better in Rupp Arena. The difference is that our team last year didn't play very good defense. And, of course, that was the big, point of emphasis in the offseason was to bring in players that we'd have a stronger defense. And we really haven't shown that except for in North Carolina game. But we don't have the offense to keep up. Last year, we didn't play defense, but we could score. So that we would have the games that we'd win like 100-96, and we just can't do that now. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but this team needs to get together. They need to come together, and they need to start playing like a team.
And right now we don't have a SEC school in the top 10.
No, we don't. But Alabama's close.
Alabama's had a tough schedule. I think
Alabama's
they
had a tough
probably had the
schedule.
toughest schedule.
He overall has underperformed.
But
But I do think that in terms of, I do think the depth in the SEC, I don't necessarily think there's a team in the SEC that's a top 5 team, but I do think the depth, like, we were talking about the ACC Challenge, and I didn't even realize that the SEC won it
Yeah.
because all the teams in the middle to the bottom won.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a big difference, but
Yeah.
we'll see how it all plays out.
So, what did you think about football last?
Well, we got a couple other things I wanted to talk about in basketball first, and I think you got to talk a little bit about Louisville. Louisville,
We did. We talked about it.
well, they went in. I think Louisville is definitely a contender for the Final Four. I hate to say that as a Cats fan, but
No, they are.
they are playing
and
good.
You shouldn't hate to say that. You're from Kentucky. I pull for Louisville when they're not playing Kentucky.
Yeah, but
and I think Louisville can make it to the Final Four.
Of course, this week we got a new number 1 too. Purdue got absolutely. So that's the thing, that things are always more magnified at UK. Purdue got absolutely pummeled by Iowa State at home, the number 1 team in the nation. Iowa State went in there and pummeled them by 24 points, and people don't even talk about that. But so Purdue kind of went tumbling down. All the teams that I've seen and all the games that I've watched, Arizona, Michigan, and Duke are by far the best 3 teams in the country, though.
I like Michigan State also.
Well, Michigan State's good, but Duke went into Michigan State and beat them.
Yeah.
And of the teams that I've seen and the tough schedules, Duke's played a really tough schedule. I hate to say it because, like I said, the only thing good about Duke to me is the U and the K between the D and the E.
Well, and you know what? I think UK's up there is one of the better teams. They've had a tough schedule and they've lost a few because they were sleeping. But anyway, I think they're going. I think
you're thinking.
Pope's going to turn this around and everything. And
I hope
think
you're
we'll
right.
be all right.
I hope you're right.
But the 3 teams you should be.
Yeah.
UConn
has looked good too.
And then you got to give Iowa State a little bit of credit. They're the ones that beat Purdue.
They did. And Iowa State, they're good. I don't know if they're necessarily a top 5 team, but like you were talking about Michigan State, I think if Michigan State played Iowa State, they would beat them.
Yeah.
And you know how it is. They went into Purdue, and sometimes you just have games like that where one team plays really well and the other team doesn't play well. So who knows? But I do think those 3 teams are the top 3 right now.
So
all the ones I've seen.
So what about football?
It was a big weekend in football. All the conference championship games. Got some thoughts on each of them. Of course, the big one was the Big Ten championship, IU and Ohio State. And I'll be honest with you, I think Ohio State really should have won the game. It was an ugly game, a defensive struggle. You get down there first and like third and 1 on the 5. And you throw a pass instead of just run the ball and getting the first down, and then you run a quarterback sneak. I just say give it to your big stud back and get behind that big offensive line.
What it showed to me was that Indiana has a hell of a defense also.
Well, no, Indiana does have a good defense. And I'm going to tell you right now, Indiana, as far as man for man and talent-wise, Ohio State has better talent. But I'm going to tell you right now, and this is where Kurt Cignetti is – he's a heck of a coach. Indiana is one of the most fundamentally sound teams that I've ever seen. They get the most out of their talent. And I'm not saying that they don't have talent, but they are always defensively. They tackle well, they're physical, and they deserve to win that game.
Anyway,
but I think that some of the play calling on Ohio State was such. I think if Ohio State and Indiana were to play again, I think Ohio State would win. That's just my personal opinion. Yeah. And that's not taking anything away from Indiana.
Yeah, because
Indiana deserved to win that game.
They beat the heck out of Alabama.
Well, Georgia beat Alabama. A lot of people said they beat the heck out of them, and they beat them
28-7.
Okay, but if you watch the game, when I watched the whole game, it was kind of first off, and this is good special teams by Georgia. Georgia got a cheap gimme touchdown on that was 7 points that was basically just handed to them. And at the beginning of the fourth quarter, Alabama cut the lead to 21-7 and got the ball back, stopped Georgia, got the ball back, and then went for it deep in their own territory on 4th down and 3 and didn't make it. And then Georgia had an easy score because they were deep in Alabama territory. So it wasn't as like, people made it out like Georgia just went out and steamrolled them right from the beginning. And it necessarily wasn't that. Georgia definitely was the better team. They won, but it wasn't just a total landslide like everybody acted like it was. And I don't know. Of course, that was a lot of the justification that people were complaining that Alabama shouldn't have got in. Of course, game should not be penalize any team. I think it should only help you. And to me, Alabama didn't deserve.
So you're saying BYU should be in the playoffs?
No, I didn't say that.
Well,
BYU was not ranked up there
They were ranked
as high
11.
as Alabama.
They were 11.
And they would have been left out if they would have been left out based on that ranking because of what happened with Duke. And unless they won the conference championship, and they really did get completely obliterated. And they didn't play near the schedule as Alabama, and didn't have any real quality wins. I mean, tell me one quality win that BYU had.
Okay.
I mean, they didn't. So,
well, they got beat by Texas Tech, who
twice
is for real.
Yeah, I tell you
All
what,
right.
Texas Tech could win the whole thing.
Do you think the committee got it right?
I do think the committee got it right. In the fact that, of course, I know the big thing is that Notre Dame was ranked ahead of Miami before the final rankings came out. And I get Notre Dame's about Notre Dame. And I'm a Notre Dame fan. And first off, I'm going to tell you,
that.
Yeah, I've always cheered for Notre Dame.
Okay.
And I've always been a Notre Dame fan, not like a Kentucky fan. Like, I'm Kentucky first, but I do cheer for Notre Dame. But I think the whole bitterness and opting out of a bowl and doing all this because you didn't get in the playoff, to me, is just that's Bush League to me. These sponsors and these networks pay a lot of money that they benefit from, and to do that to me is just sour grapes. And to me, if Miami would have been left out, they would have been crying too. Somebody's going to get left out, and someone's always going to complain. And here's the thing about Notre Dame. As much as I love it, Notre Dame could have got in a conference, and they chose not to. So when you're not in a conference, you don't have the ability to play for a conference championship, which gets you in automatically. So that was based on their choice. And, so I don't really feel like,
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And this is the way I look at it. First of all, the committee got it. If they were going to put Miami in above Notre Dame, Miami should have been ranked ahead of Notre Dame. Going into that, they didn't do that. And the way I look at it, the ACC screwed this up, and the committee. They got to work on it next year. But there was 4 teams in the ACC that were tied for second place: SMU, Miami, Duke, and Georgia Tech.
Right.
And the way the SEC does their metrics, Duke came out ahead of all those other 3.
Well,
they came out ahead of all those 3, and they got to be in the ACC. Now, how do you feel? How do you think Georgia Tech feels? Georgia Tech beat Duke during the regular season, had a better record than Duke. Miami had a better record than Duke. SMU had a better record than Duke because of the way that ACC.
Yeah, the ACC was at fault.
That damn commissioner needs to go.
Well,
he needs to go out there and just walk along that golf course and try to run into a pond. To be quite honest,
the ACC was at fault in their tiebreaker because
in
all
my
other
opinion,
in my opinion, let me tell you this.
Miami doesn't deserve because they didn't even get to play in their own championship. So I don't think Miami deserves being there. And I'll tell you, not that they don't. I think Miami. If it was 12 teams, Miami deserves in there. If it was 12 teams, Notre Dame. Tulane and James Madison are the ones that shouldn't be in there. But Alabama, if this had been 3 weeks ago and Alabama got beat like that, Alabama would have dropped 4 to 7 spots, wouldn't they?
Well,
listen,
Jimmy, I'm agreeing with you on something,
Oh, you
but
are.
I'm trying to tell you something. First off, the ACC wasn't wrong because their tiebreaker system was if you had a tie between schools, and this was stupid on the ACC part, that the highest ranked team is the team that gets into the conference championship. So that way you avoid having a Duke that can't make the playoffs. So that was the ACC's fault. Any other conference, Miami would have been in the conference championship game
Yes, that's
because
what I'm
they were
saying.
the highest ranked team.
That's
That
what I
was
said.
stupidity on the ACC's part.
Yes, it was.
So, but here's the thing. The other thing is that, and they're correcting this for next year. Everybody's mad because James Madison got in because of the ACC screwing up, they had the worst case scenario by winning the ACC championship. They were ranked below James Madison. So the playoff committee, basically the bylaws basically said that the next highest ranked team from a conference championship goes. Next year, that's gone. They've already corrected that. So next year, if the same stipulations were,
fine
if we had,
for next year, but that's not this year.
But here's the thing. I mean, they changed some things from last. It's a work in progress. And my thing is that yes, there was something that they didn't anticipate that they should have done, but they improved from last year to this year. And then next year it will be better as well. Next year, if we have the same situation, Notre Dame gets in.
We had less controversy when there was only 4 teams getting in.
I disagree.
Okay. So this year, if they said Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas Tech are the 4 teams, you think that anybody else would be crying?
No, what I'm saying is it doesn't matter how many teams you have. Somebody is always, if you had 25 teams getting in, the 26 would be crying wolf. So it doesn't matter how many teams you have.
Out this year, I mean, especially.
But here's the thing. With going to this instead of just 2 or 4 teams, you don't have teams like Florida State a couple years that went undefeated and didn't even get a chance to play for the champion. You don't have a team like Georgia that went undefeated through the entire regular season, lost in the SEC, got left out, and was probably the best team in the country.
Oh, they were.
You're talking about teams that, I'm sorry, but Notre Dame,
that's what
they
we're
lost
talking
twice.
About.
So it wasn't like if it was back to the 14, they wouldn't even be in the conversation at all.
And Alabama lost 3 times.
It's better, and they're going to go to 16 in a couple years.
Next year, I understand that.
Well, not next year.
We're talking about right now. I do not think Miami should have jumped over Notre Dame, even though they beat them earlier in the year, one of the first game of the season, if I remember correctly, because Texas A&M beat Notre Dame the second game.
Well, here's
if the committee had thought Miami was better than Notre Dame, they should have put them over during the regular season.
Well, I mean, here's what their argument was. Their argument was that they were comparing 3 teams: BYU, Miami, and Notre Dame were all vying for the last slot.
And
so
Alabama.
It's kind of like a 3-way tie. If you have a 3-way tie, then if one team has a head-to-head, the 2 teams have a head-to-head, you have a third team that's in the mix.
Yeah.
Once BYU got blasted and they were out of it, then it just came down to Miami and Notre Dame comparison, and that's when the committee decided to say the head-to-head good arguments. One of them was going to get left out and was going to have an argument. My thing is that handle it with class, Notre Dame. Go to a bowl game. Yeah, you have tons of national championships. Out, then Miami would be sitting here complaining and acting like a fool too. So
I'll be dang. At least you and me finally agreed on something.
So
holy cow!
Yeah.
All right, so you got Alabama playing Oklahoma, which I think is the best first round game in the playoffs, and Oklahoma beat them earlier in this about mid-season. What do you think about that game?
I think Alabama will get them back. Alabama really dominated that game, outgained them by double, and it was just the turnovers that
they
were
are
the
playing
issue.
at Oklahoma.
Yeah, but I think Alabama will be ready, and I do think that Alabama will go in and will beat Oklahoma.
I'm going to go with Oklahoma. I told you
we'll win that game.
And that game is on December 19th. December 20th, we've got Miami at Texas A&M.
So you said Alabama, Oklahoma. I think the Miami-Texas A&M game will be the best game of the first round.
We'll agree to disagree on that. I think, but Miami
I do think Texas A&M will win, but I think Miami's going to have a chip on their shoulder. And anytime when something happens, when somebody's saying, well, they didn't deserve to be in, that team always seems to come in with a chip on their shoulder.
I'm taking Miami in that game.
I'm not taking Miami, but it
All right,
wouldn't shock
and
me if they
then
won.
Tulane at Ole Miss. Ole Miss beat Tulane earlier in the year by what, 30
Ole
points?
Miss is the wild card because Kiffin being gone, and they have I think that they're going to want to prove something and basically go out there, and their players will be super fired up, and so will their
And
fans.
Summerall, that's going to Florida, is coaching the Tulane team that game.
Yeah.
James Madison versus Oregon.
I think Oregon will win that easy.
Now, I want to point out something. Last year, 13 of the players on Indiana's team that ended up in the college football playoff, 13 of them were from James Madison.
Well, they played there 3 years ago, so
2
totally
years
different.
ago. 2
No.
years ago.
Because they've now played 2 full seasons, so it would have been 3 seasons ago. So
3 seasons. But anyway, no, what I'm saying though is the players on Indiana's team 13 of them came from James Madison. So
and they're all at Indiana now instead of James Madison.
look for this game to be a little bit more competitive from what everybody's taking, but I'm going to go with Oregon. And of course, we know the winner of the Miami AMU Texas A&M game plays Ohio. The winner of the Ole Miss game plays who they play, Mike?
The winner of the Ole Miss game plays against.
Game. It doesn't matter which team wins; they play Indiana. I'm
They
looking
play, yeah.
forward to that game.
Yeah. So if you got, I tell you where the team that really, to me, got. Of course, they obviously lost in the Big Ten championship game. But you think about if Texas A&M wins their first round game, they have a home. They will. Of course, Texas A&M just a couple weeks ago, people were saying they should Cotton Bowl in Texas, potentially against Texas A&M as the 3 seed now. So I think Ohio State really probably got the toughest draw. Then if they were to win that, they're going to have to play Georgia probably in the Peach Bowl in Georgia. Assuming Georgia was to beat the winner of Tulane and Ole Miss.
All right.
And then ultimately would have to play the other team. And personally, I think that there's not an easy road anywhere. I mean, I think Texas Tech is playing lights out. IU obviously has a chance to win it all. So it's going to be interesting.
Let's talk about the big game this weekend.
We're talking about Army Navy.
Army Navy. Army will pull it out. And
well, wait, hey, before we get to Army Navy.
No, we're already on Army Navy. We can go
that's
back.
Because
but
you
just
sat there and decided before I was even done talking about it.
Well, you're
Jimmy.
never done talking,
Fast
Mike,
forward,
so
Jimmy.
let's keep going. You're never done
Who are
talking.
you picking to win the national championship? You didn't even pick somebody.
I'll tell you that after the first 4 games are played.
Well, how good is that?
Well, it's better than doing it now and being
Well,
wrong,
I'm
just
picking
like I picked
I'm
the
picking
damn Ravens
Georgia.
to make the Super Bowl.
Well,
no. Army Navy game, and President Trump is going to be there. I just wanted to let everybody know that.
Well, I don't really care about that.
Well, they invite him every year. They invite the president every year, and they have a lot of tradition. I did not know, but they have got a van, and both the Navy and Army are going out, and I think they've already started. But they run that ball 240 miles. They do a marathon, which I know 240 miles is not an exact marathon, but they start running that ball to the stadium. I did not know that was tradition.
Yes, they've been doing that.
You knew that was tradition? I did not know that. I
Yeah.
was very impressed with that. I mean, I can't even walk 2.4 miles, let alone 240 miles, but I thought that was very good. But yeah, this game is always, I think it's the only game that day as far as college, a few other colleges.
Yeah, it's always the only college game after the conference championship.
And then,
games.
Mike, we need to talk about the big upset that happened this week in football.
Talking about college or pro?
We're talking about college.
Who was the big upset?
My buddy Dan Musil's team,
Uh-oh.
North Dakota.
It's a sad day in North Dakota.
Got beat by Illinois State. It was a close game, but they ended up getting beat, and it was over a turnover, which is most games are won over turnovers.
Well, one thing is for sure, they will definitely be back.
Oh, only loss. And anyway, good luck next year, North Dakota State.
Well, I do think that it's going to be a fun playoff, and it's the only thing that's always sad to me at this point in the season is that we're down to just a handful of games. And I always love it when football season starts, and I'm always shedding tears when it's ending.
You know what I love when football season is over?
It's basketball season.
Nope. It's daggone it. Spring is right around the corner, and we don't have to worry about this cold weather that we're having.
You still got a couple more months after football's
I know
over.
it, but I said after football's over. But
That's the way I feel when the Final Four's over. Is that
Yeah.
that's getting warm.
yeah,
But
All
I'm
right.
always sad because I'm not a big baseball fan. So when football's over, I get sad. But I don't get to ask college basketball. I have that to kind of focus on. But then after that, I'm just like, man. Until it's spring
So-
training, I'm just kind of.
you want to talk a little pro football?
I think. Are you ready to?
Well, I'm always ready to talk about.
You're
whatever
always
you
fast
want.
forward, Jimmy. Yes, definitely ready to talk a little NFL. So we had a couple things that the first thing
You know,
they lost another home game and probably out of the playoffs. The dynasty is probably over. I'd
well,
say.
I wouldn't say the dynasty is over, but I would say this year they're not. You hate to give up on the Chiefs, but I'm going
have to have some other teams lose. And the problem they have is that all the teams that are vying for the wild cards, they've lost to head-to-head, with the exception of the Colts.
Well,
But the Colts are on such a downhill slide, and they lost Daniel Jones this week. Brought up big old. We thought Flacco was old. Phillip Rivers. It really is old man River.
yes.
Old man Phillip Rivers. He's back, and he's 44. He's a grandfather. His
Yeah.
oldest son has. So that's a first.
I like Phillip Rivers.
Oh, I think he's a great quarterback.
He's one of the few guys out there. He talks like me. He'll say, "Gosh darn it, I wish you hadn't hit me so hard."
He's
you
a
little
he's
turd."
a very
He
religious
won't cuss
person
though. He
too.
doesn't cuss.
Yeah,
He
very
doesn't
spiritual,
cuss.
religious
I
person.
love the guy.
He's got
And-
like 20 kids, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's got a ton of kids.
but I think the Chiefs will be back next year and everything. But I think they're not going.
I don't know, Jimmy, because he really looked human last year. Their defense last year really kind of kept them in games, and he would come up in the big moments. But the thing that really struck me in the Texans game, and really some of their games this year, is and I don't know if that's something they can remedy. If they're going to have a lot of things to think about in the offseason to start rebuilding possibly.
And you think about this whole year, how it started. I mean, if you said at the beginning of the year, if I sat here and said, Mike, the Chiefs are not going to make the playoffs, the Ravens are not going to make the playoffs, the Patriots are going to be leading their division over the Bills, the Bears have a chance to make the playoffs.
Broncos are the number one seed
and
in the
AFC. And you would have said, Jimmy, you're drunk or you're crazy.
The one thing that
it's been a different year, which that's what the NFL wants. They want changes. And the Steelers got a big win.
The Steelers got a big win, and you said the Ravens. Actually, the Ravens I don't think are in a bad a spot as the Chiefs are, because the Ravens are only one game behind the Steelers, and they have to play the Steelers again. But the problem with the Ravens right now is that the Ravens just aren't playing very well.
Lamar Jackson's hurt.
Yeah, he's hurt, and they're just not playing well.
Steelers have to win 2 of the next 4 games.
Well, they have to play the Lions, but the Steelers probably will get in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think so.
The sad thing is, Jimmy, was that the Bungles had a chance and were dominating the Bills until the back-to-back weird. I don't even know. Can't even describe.
Can keep Joe Burrows healthy for a whole season. They will make it to the Super Bowl.
Well,
but he has to be healthy the whole
they're going to have
season.
to upgrade their defense to make the Super Bowl.
They're going to have to upgrade their offensive line to protect Burrows.
Well, I think,
and also, do upgrade the defense, but definitely their offensive line.
I think more than anything that the Bengals, they need to quit relying so much on the pass. Joe Burrow's great, but when you get in the NFL and you have defenses that are just teeing off, knowing you're going to pass 70% of the time, that's when you get your quarterback hurt.
Yeah.
You look at every NFL team that has won a Super Bowl, there's 2 things they have in common. They have a strong running game and they have a strong defense. Those are the two things that the Bengals don't have. And they're going to have to remedy that. And I think Zach Taylor is the person or the coach that is going to get them to the next level. I do understand that he made the Super Bowl, which is really the only thing he has to hang his hat on a few years ago. But that was really kind of a little bit of a fluky run. And not to take anything away from them, but Burrow got hot. And they got hot at the right time. But they're going to have to be consistent. They're going to get the pressure off Burrow. They're going to have to improve the running game and improve their defense. That's just the
And
two
then the
simple
Rams,
things.
the Rams bounce back. I mean, Stafford's still having an MVP quality season right now.
Yeah, I think he probably will. Him or May from the Patriots, I think, are
They're both up
going to
there.
right there neck and neck in terms of the MVP award this year.
Yeah. And
Talk about which was probably the biggest game of the weekend was the Packers and Bears played for a chance at the end to win the game or to tie it actually, and they threw an interception. So, they got to go to the Broncos this week, so
that'll be a good game.
I think the Packers will win that game.
Do you? I can't. You know what? I can't argue with you on
The
that.
Broncos have been living on 9 lives the whole season. Every
Well-
game, it seems like they somehow sneak a win out. And I just don't – I know they're the number 1 seed, and I'm not taking anything away from them, but I have a feeling when they get in the playoffs, that luck is going to run out.
So
And
speaking of games, we got some big games coming up. Bills at the Patriots.
that's the biggest game of the week. Biggest, in my opinion.
Think about that.
I want to pick the Bills because I did pick the Bills to go to the Super Bowl, and
Well, that's
Patriots are just playing really well. And they've had
They're
2
coming
weeks.
off
They've
a
had
bye.
2 weeks to prepare. Can either help you or hurt you. Sometimes you can come out a little rusty, or you can come out where you've got a better game plan because you've had time to prepare.
I am taking the Bills also. But if you actually look at some of the teams that the Bills have played, they have not had a strong record against. I mean, as far as the teams they played have had a bad record.
You talking about the Bills or the Patriots?
The Patriots, they have not played a lot of strong teams, and I'm going to take the Bills. This will tell you how good the Patriots are. I think they're going to make the playoffs, which hats off to Vrabel. That's a big
Well, the Patriots are
accomplishment.
definitely going to make the playoffs. It's just a matter of if they're going to win the division. And
But I
right
think
now,
the
they're
Bills are-
technically they're up 2 games, and they got the head-to-head. Of course,
and
if
there's
the
only
Bills
4 games left.
Yeah, if the Bills get the win, they still have a chance to win the division. But I think the Bills will get in, but probably as a wild card, even if they win this game, because I don't see the Patriots dropping down another game. But you never know.
Then we have the Chargers at the Chiefs, and Herbert had surgery on his hand last Monday. Played this week. You can tell when he holds it up like this, when he gets hit and everything. And
Well,
I'm
this week's loss, they have been eliminated from winning the division. They've
They
won
got
it
a
10
losing
years,
record.
10 years
they're
in a
6
row.
and 7.
I know, but you could have a losing record in the AFC North and still have a chance to win.
Yeah, but but
They'd be winning the division if they were in the AFC North right now.
And hats off to the Chargers for beating the Eagles. I mean, not to the Eagles
Everybody's
fans.
beating the Eagles right now. They've lost 3 straight.
Yeah, and then we have the Packers at the Broncos, and you already said you
I think the Packers are going to win. Yeah,
I got to agree with you. I think
to
the
get into
Rams
the
are going to
playoffs.
win. I think Matthew Stafford's going to want to beat one of his old nemesis, his old team, the Lions.
I think the Lions are going to win this game. I just have a feeling that the Lions, their backs
Okay.
are against the wall, and I just think they'll.
And then Colts at Seahawks.
Colts are reeling, and the obviously losing Daniel Jones is a killer. I don't see I think the Colts are
But
basically
they got
on a
Rivers.
well, but he's still 44 years old, and he's just on the practice squad right
Well,
now.
why
so.
have you got this on as one of the best games of the week?
Well, technically, the Colts are still on top of their division, and the Seahawks are on
okay.
top of their division, even though the Colts are reeling.
So Dolphins at Steelers. I'm going Steelers.
Well, the funny thing is that the Dolphins everybody had written the Dolphins off, and they've quietly snuck their way back into contention. Do you realize that? They're 6 and 7 right now. They have the same record as the Chiefs, and they have an outside chance of making the playoffs. If they win this game, they definitely got a chance. So
That's
I
why
would
I'm taking the Steelers.
Well,
That is the
I'm going to take the Dolphins just because I hate the Steelers, and I would love to see the Dolphins just go in there and beat them.
Oh, Mike.
Dolphins are hot right now, man. Dolphins
And
are hot.
Before you say it, I don't have a gripe this week.
You don't have a gripe.
No,
Well,
it's Christmas time. I get a
you
loving
don't want to be a
feeling
Grinch.
around
You don't want to have
Christmas and
a
everything.
Grinchy
and-
gripe.
No, I don't want to be a Grinch and everything.
This week it would have been about Notre Dame and how
I
they
think that's a
and
good
actu-
gripe.
actually, and it's not just Notre Dame. There's a lot of teams that,
Did
are, that are
Auburn?
doing this.
Did I read something where Auburn is not going to a bowl? Is that because they declined one or they weren't?
Well, they
invited?
were actually. Did you know Kentucky was invited to a bowl? All these teams that are 5 and 7 got invited, or a lot of them did, because there were so many teams that were 6 and 6 or above that turned down bowls, and they have to fill these bowls.
Well, some of these teams declined because they don't have coaches.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I think
And
if I think if
that's
Stoops
a good
was
reason.
well, I think if Stoops was still there, then they would have gone. Obviously, Auburn's in the same situation.
Yeah.
Here's my thing with it too, and if it's going to be a gripe about this, you got to think past the Notre Dame. One of their reasons was that they had a players meeting, and there was so many of the players that were going to the NFL. You know, a bowl game not only is just something for your fans, but it gives you a whole nother month to work with your players and
Yeah.
to develop your players.
So
And
that means Kentucky can practice now since they were invited to a bowl
well,
game.
they had busy right now in the playoffs, but
Okay.
I think the NCAA or they need to pass something to where I think that these schools need to be obligated
Now,
to go.
one of the bowl games that I'm looking forward to is Michigan and Texas.
Yeah, I mean,
That's going to be a good.
and here's
bowl
the
game.
thing: when these schools like Notre Dame turn down these things, you're robbing the fans. I mean, everybody wants to see
Yeah,
some
you're
of these
robbing the fans
matchups.
of like the Duke Mayo Bowl. We get to see somebody get.
I mean,
covered in
Alabama last
mayonnaise,
year.
the big old Pop Tart come out of a thing,
Yeah,
and
it's
people eat the
football,
Pop
man. It's
Tart.
football. You know, here's the thing. I tell you this, just based on this premise alone, Notre Dame thought they should be in for over Alabama. I think just in the fact that Alabama last played a bowl game and they didn't cry about it and they went and played. So you know what, Notre Dame, go play and then don't cry. So then next year, maybe you can get ready and you can make the playoff next year, but don't sit there and have sour grapes and then
Boy.
say, you should be in over Alabama. At least Alabama
All right.
didn't whine and complain
This
last
is
year.
the last gripe you ever get to have because he carried it on way too long, past our time.
Are you telling
Hey.
me?
Hey, thanks to Clay and Stu for coming on our show. We appreciate it. Mike, do the closing.
Well, you already did it. You got a piece.
Peace out, guys.
Peace out. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe. And you can go up here at 2mixtalk at gmail.com and send us an email if you have a question or a comment. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you on the 2 Mix next week. Peace out.